close the doors of your mind from all carnal will, all carnal thought, all emotions, all desires, all fears, all laziness, all doubt, all error and doubt, all the seeds of Satan, all that's been sown throughout the week, all the remnants of Jaza, Azazel, Azbaal, and all of the fallen, and all the teachings within one's thoughts that one inherited from the time they've been born until now. And bring your mind to balance within your cranial nerves, within your 12 melanin centers, within your 12 cranial nerves, within your hands and your feet that control the rest of your body, within the bottom of your feet and the palms of your hands, within your eyes and your ears and your thoughts and your nose, that you may smell and be able to taste that Yahuwah is good. Be able to discern between good and evil within yourself. To be able to discern between Tau and Ra within your mind, that you know what to remove and what to keep. For today is the day of freedom. Today is the day of one. Today is the day that Yahuwah has given to us as a gift. As a gift to those in the remnant, those who hold to his debar, those who hold to his commandments and laws and Torah, those who hold to his love and compassion that he extended to us through the belief of Yahushua Mashiach within our inner man. We delight in the Torah through our inner man. For our outward man perishes day by day. We live day by day, unless you're living in another world, in another place where time actually is different from this time, where 1 year is like 364 days, or you're living in 1 day like 1,000 years. But even as we sit here in the presence of Yahushua Mashiach, and the knowledge of the wisdom and knowledge and understanding that he gives, we sit and we understand that it is him who gives knowledge and understanding to us, and that he the one that allows us to live and to breathe and have understanding within ourselves. So as we move forward in the fruits, I say the pari of Yahushua Mashiach, in the knowledge and the fruit that he gives and allows us. He said, I'm the vine, you are the branches. You can't do nothing without me. Just like a vine that springs up on a trellis. You can't do nothing without unless the vine actually brings forth water, that the rest of the fruit may be able to bear on the actual trellis. So as we move forward in this life, we consider ourselves, we consider who we are, we consider that, is it not written in your Torah, I said you are gods, you are Elohim. If I called you a god and a goddess and a judge, whom the word of Yahuwah came, he said, you can't change it. You can't remove it. You can't talk. You can't even remove it from your thoughts. But that's who you are. Right, so this is the book of Philippians, the book of Philippi. Philippians 4 and 5. Philippians 4 and 5. Philippians 4 and 5. Actually, going for verse 4. It says, rejoice in the Master Yahuwah always. Again, I will say rejoice. He said, rejoice always. He said, in him. He said, I delight to do thy will. Psalm 37. But he said, what? For thy Torah is in my heart. He said, Yahuwah will give you the desires of your heart. He said, rejoice always. Let your reasonableness be known to everyone. He said, let it be known to everyone. Why? Yahuwah is, the master is at hand. He said, Yahuwah is at hand. Do not be anxious about anything. He said, don't be anxious about anything. It means be very careful. Be very, very careful. But in everything by prayer and supplication, which means you got to ask for permission every single thing you do. In everything you do, just like the king Yahshua and Yehuda, what did they have to do? They said, let us inquire of Yehuda and see what's going on. So in everything you do, with thanksgiving, let your request be made known to Yahuwah, Elohim. So in everything you do, you need to ask for permission. You don't be anxious to go do something without permission. We'll see what happens. And guess what happens if you do that? And the peace of Yahuwah, Elohim, and the Shalom. People say they want peace. The only thing they got to do is just do what it says. Ask for permission in everything you do. And you'll always have peace. Why? Because you'll never go against somebody. Your father and mother, which surpasses all understanding. You have a peace that passes all understanding. It says, will guard your hearts and your minds in Mashiach Yahushua. He said, It'll guard your heart and your mind. Because guess what? You have a peace that passes understanding because everything you do, you ask for permission. He's like, why would I do that? He's like, you got to ask for permission. This is Psalms, actually Proverbs 3:1. Proverbs 3:1. Proverbs 3:1. Marshally Proverbs 3:1. Marshally Proverbs 3:1. It says, my son, my daughter, Adam, do not forget my teachings, but let your heart keep my commandments. That's both male and female. Let your inner man, your inner thoughts, your inner mind, your inner man, your cranium, your 12 cranial, your 12 melanin centers, your hands and your feet, your axons and your dendrites that send messages from your brain, electric impulses that send messages from your brain to your lower parts of your feet, all the way to the top parts of your brain. He's saying your mind, your leg, your makashava, your yetzer, your imagination. He said, let your heart keep your commandments. Let your labab, your leg, keep my commandments. For length of days and years and peace, they will add to you. Because everything you do with prayer and supplication, you ask for permission. Because sometimes we be thinking our understanding and our wisdom is going to allow us to be able to produce something, and because we're anxious. You know, that's a human emotion. That's something that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. We're anxious about doing things. We're anxious about going to see things. We're anxious about traveling. We're anxious about investing. We're anxious about joining with these people, joining with that person, or we're anxious about these things. He said, no, do everything like that, and you'll always have peace. But if you don't, it says, peace will be added to you. Let not steadfast love and faithfulness forsake you. Don't let it forsake you. Don't let it forsake you in the 8 prayer watch times. Don't let it forsake you morning, noon, evening. Don't let it forsake you in the morning and noon sacrifices. Don't let it forsake you during the day while you sit in the house, walk by the way, and lie down and rise up. Don't let it forsake you. Bind them around your neck and write them on the tablets of your heart. Let your heart keep my commandments. Bind them in your mind. He said bind them, just like you bind up a basket of summer fruit, the teat, which is what? The 9th letter of the alphabet, the tit. But it's mud, clay, male and female basket. It looked like a basket. He said, gather it in and write it on your hearts, your mind. Guess what? So you will find favor and good success. You're going to have peace that passes all understanding. Because everything you do, you ask Yahuwah for permission, and guess what happens? Anything you do is going to prosper. Everything you do is going to prosper, you're asking for permission. It's going to prosper. It says, in the sight of Yahuwah and man, which means that in the sight of Yahuwah and man, when you do this, you always have confidence in Yahushua Mashiach. Guess what it says? Trust in Yahuwah with all your heart. Because if you do this, you ask Yahuwah for permission and prayer and supplication, every single thing you do, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, guess what happens? You'll have good success. Trust in Yahuwah with all your heart, because the only reason you're doing it is because you trust Him. And do not lean to your own understanding, because that's why you got to do it. Because we lean to your own understanding, say, Father, Mother, in the highest Shamayim, Yahuwah Elohim. Because He's going to tell you everything. No. The understanding of that is, the wisdom of that is, the truth of that is, people don't want to hear that. That's why they don't ask Him for permission. And guess what happens? In all your ways, acknowledge Him. He said, in all your ways, and everything you get ready to do, where you going? Go pray. Go ask Him. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He will make straight your path. He's going to tell you, this is not good, that's good. That's good. That's not good. That wisdom, no. No. Don't eat that. Don't move that. No. You want me to go here? I want to travel here? No, don't do that. Not right now. And guess right here. Be wise. Be not wise in your own eyes. Why? Because some people, even naturally, children think they're wiser than their mother and their father in the house. They think they're so wise, but the parents ain't wise. And they got understanding and wisdom. So therefore, the children are inquiring of unwise parents who don't ask their father and mother for permission from everything they do. And it says, fear Yahuwah and turn away from evil. Because it's evil not to do that. It is wrong not to do that. It will be healing to your flesh. It's going to be healing my flesh, which means you say, what happened? I must have did something that wasn't, because there's something going on in my flesh. It's something going on in my flesh. It's something I didn't do right. something happened. I did something. I calculate everything, and you gotta go back and say, this was wrong. It be hidden to your flesh and refreshment to your bones. This is why people die. This is why people have all these diseases. He said, if you keep all my commandments, now I put none of the diseases that I put on the Mizraim on you. But guess what happens? You didn't ask, did you? You didn't ask. Right? And it says, honor Yahuwah with your wealth and the first fruit of your produce, right? All that, right? He said, why would he do that? Right? So this book of Ecclesiastes. This book of Ecclesiastes chapter 7. Verse 4. Actually, 7 and 1. It says a good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death better than the day of birth. It is better than, he said, why would he say that? He said, man, it's a good name to be better than precious ointment. The day of death, he said, than the day of your death. And the day of death than the day of birth. Because when you come into this world, as you can see, it's worse than it was in the days of Noah. As soon as you come into this world, they got your name on the birth certificate, and they already got debt on you. They put you there and trade you on the stock market. As soon as you sign the document and put yourself right on the stock market, and now your name is being traded. He said a good name is better than precious ointment, because guess what? You get that after you get your name in. And the day of death than the day of birth. Because you're more valuable. He said people got life insurance. When you die, you're more valuable in your death than you are alive. In some cases. Verse 2 said, it is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For this is the end of all mankind. He's like, because you want to see your end. He said, I don't want to know how I'm going to die. You see these movies, they be like, when am I going to die? I want to see my death. Why? Because once you know you're going to die, then you realize, I got to live my life to the fullest. You be like, you know how the dog, they run in the field, you let them loose, they gone. They run in the field wide open, tongue out, full speed. They realize, man, I ain't got that much time. And they realize, I need to live life the way my father and mother told me to do. And amazingly, right, it's better to go to the house of mourning than to the house of feasting, for this is the end of all mankind, and the living will lay at the heart. He said, you're going to lay all that to your mouth. Man, I need to ask you for permission in everything I do. Because some people die before their time, and you'll hear it then. You'll be like, man, I need to ask my father and mother for everything I do. Prayer and supplication. I always have confidence in Yahushua Mashiach, and I'll never lean to my own understanding, and I'll never have anything wrong. Right? And I'll always trust him after that. Because I trust his advice. It says, for this is the end of all mankind. Verse 3 says, sorrow is better than laughter, for by sadness the face of the heart is made glad. That's the only way you're going to know what gladness is. If you don't know how to sow your seed in tears, you don't know how to repent in righteousness, for godly repentance, you got to repent as a God. That's the only way you're going to repent. You get what it says? The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning. In weeping. In mourning. He said, why would the house of the wise be in mourning? The heart of the wise is in the house of the mourning. But the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. That's eating and drinking, marrying and giving and marrying. Actually not marrying, giving and marrying. Fornication and adultery. Drinking and getting drunk. Reveling in the parties, right? That's what they do. Thinking that their life is not going to end. Verse 5 says, it is better for a man to hear the rebuke of the wise than to hear the song of fools. So you say stupid people. Stupid people who have no wisdom nor understanding, who don't actually rule for no permission, who ain't got no confidence in Yahushua Mashiach, and who ain't doing with all prayer and supplication and thanksgiving in everything they do, who lean to their own understanding, they don't follow his commandments, and they forgot the teaching of their mother, and they just walk around doing what they want. Guess what? They would rather hear songs of fools, just like you see all today. People who have no understanding and wisdom and knowledge and understanding, they don't understand anything, and they would rather listen to them and do all the stuff they do. It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than hear a song of a fool. Oh, the rebuke of the wise. This is your wisdom and knowledge and understanding. We're trying to find a peace that passes all understanding. Get what it says. For as the crackling of thorns under a pot, so it is laughter of fools. This is also vanity. Laughter of stupid people who have no knowledge and understanding is vanity. People who don't know anything is like vanity when they laugh. It's like, what you laughing for? You don't even know nothing. You have no knowledge or understanding. What are you laughing for? It's nothing funny. Do you know where everybody's going to go when they leave it? When they leave this earth eventually? What you laughing for? All right, this is Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 11. Deuteronomy 4 and 11. Deuteronomy 4 and 11. Actually, Deuteronomy 4 and 1. It says, and now, O Yasharal, listen. Deuteronomy 4 and 1. And now, O Yasharal, listen to the statutes and rules that I am teaching you, and do them, that you may live and go in and take possession of the land that Yahuwah your Elohim, your father, is giving you. Which means, he said, take possession. Which means you got to have authority and dominion. You got to dominate the land. Where is the seed being sown? He said the seed is the word, as Yahushua said in the book of Luke. And where is the seed being sown? Inside of you, inside of your land. He's sowing pomegranates, wheat, barley, apple trees. He's sowing fig trees. He's sowing mint, anise, cumin. He's sowing things that are good for the body. He's sowing these things inside of you. And he want to see an increase inside of you. And guess what? That's in your land, in your mind. And he want to see an increase. He's telling you, I need you to do this. I don't need you to be lazy. He's saying, to do them that you may live and go take possession of the land your Elohim, your father is giving you, which means you're going to have to fight to take control of yourself. You're going to have to fight to take control over who you are. You're going to have to fight your old life. You're going to have to fight your old ways. You're going to have to fight who you are. You're going to have to fight your old habits. You're going to have to see yourself. And get what it says. You shall not add to the word that I command you, nor take from it, that you may keep the commandments of Yahuwah your Elohim that I command you. Your eyes have seen what I did to Baal Peor. For Yahuwah Elohim destroyed from among you all the men who followed Baal Peor, who followed Balaam, who followed Baal, who worshiped the gods and the idols, who followed their wisdom and knowledge and understanding. And guess what happened? But you who held fast to his Yahuwah, your Elohim, are alive today. That's only what we hear. Because we find a peace that passes all understanding. What was Jerusalem? What was the land called? Jerusalem itself? The city of peace. The teachings of peace. That's what Jerusalem is. The teachings of peace. It's the teachings of Yeru Shalom. It's the teachings of peace. The instructions of peace. The knowledge of peace. And it's a peace that passes all understanding. So what is this? And it says right here, and you are alive today. See, I have taught you statutes and rules. And Yahuwah my Elohim commanded, as Yahuwah my Elohim commanded me, that you should do them in the land that you are entering to possess it. Keep them and do them, for that will be your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the people. It means that he said, we read in Philippians 4 and 7, he said, you're going to do this inside all the people, all the nations. He said, I want you to do this in front of all the people. But then it also says, what? This is your wisdom and understanding. So there is a peace that passes this type of understanding and wisdom. There's something that surpasses it. It exceeds it. And you know what it says? In the sight of people, who, when they hear all these statutes, will say, surely this great people, nation, is a wise and understanding people. In their eyes, they're going to look at you as a wise and understanding people. But there is a peace that passes all wisdom and understanding. Something that man can't. He said, it's not for everybody to grab on hold to. Right, so this is 2nd Enoch, Pseudepigrapha Old Testament, Volume 1, 2nd Enoch 48. Right? Second Enoch 48. Second Enoch 48. Pseudepigrapha, Volume 1, Second Enoch 48. It says the sun, so that he might travel along the 7 celestial circles, right? So recapping what we talked about before. We talked about who can hide from the heat, the book of Psalms, and how the sun travels and leaves just like a bridegroom leaving his chamber. We look at the song of God. We talked about how even Abraham said, he said, when you go and prepare yourself, he said the king of Shamash and earth are going to come inside of your tent. He's going to meet you. All these are a part of what? The 7 celestial circles. Right? He said the 7 cities of refuge that Asenath was a part of. And he said, I'm going to make your 7 virgins. He said, I'm going to make them 7 cities of refuge. And your name should no longer be called Asenath, but the 7 cities of refuge. But moving in towards the 7 streams, as the book of Isaiah chapter 11 talked about, as we spoke about last week, talked about the 7 streams. And those 7 streams, and he's going to gather his people from the 4 corners of the earth on these 7 streams. And these 7 streams are going to be geared towards what? The 7 cities of refuge. Right? When you look at the 7 cities of refuge, you look at the 7 congregations in the book of Revelation, Kazum. Look at the 7 congregations joined to Jerusalem, because that's where the 7 cities of refuge, according to Deuteronomy chapter 19, Dabarim, and how those 7 cities, those cities of refuge are going to be close and detached to Jerusalem itself. And those 12 tribes, or you say 3 gates, 3 to the north, 3 to the south, 3 to the east, and 3 to the west, are a part of that city. And those 7 cities of refuge are a part of that city. And by being a part of that city, you now understand what it's to be a part of a city. And in that city, he said, in that city, there is no darkness at all. That's why he said, Yahuwah is light. And in him is no darkness at all. Absolutely none. He is old. He is light. Right? Look at all these attributes of it. And you look at the 7 women taking hold of 1 man in the book of Yeshayahu chapter 4. Seven women taking hold of 1 man and said, let us wear our own clothes, buy our own apparel, and let us just be called by your name. Not only these 7 women that were taking hold of 1 man was taking hold of 1 city, 1 Mashiach, Yahushua Mashiach. Because there's only 1 body. There's only 1 Amun, and there's only 1 emerald. And there's only 1 hope. And he said, I'm going to gather my people to these 7 streams. What do these 7 streams represent? And they said right here, the sun, that it might travel on the 7 celestial circles, which are appointed 182 thrones, 182, 8 plus 2 plus 11, 8 plus 2 plus 1 is 11. And get what it says? So that he might descend to the shortest day. That's what we're moving to now. Because we just passed 182 thrones. Get what we're getting ready to do. We're moving toward the shortest day. We just passed the longest day. Now we're moving toward the shortest day. And guess what? And once more 182, so that he might descend to the longest day. Now we're moving toward the longest day. And it's 11. He said 182, 11, 11. And guess what it says? He also has 2 great thrones, where he pauses when he turns around in this direction. And in the other direction, higher than the lunar thrones, right? From the month Saban, it says Saban, from the 17th day it descends to the month Tevet, and from the 17th day of Tevet he ascends. You get what it says? Because we know, most people don't know about these days, but we're going to talk about it eventually. But it says, and in this way, the sun moves along all the celestial circles. Right? Look at the 7 Qahalath, the 7 feasts. Right? You got Pesach, got Chag Matzah, Bakurim, Shabur, Teruah, Kafar, and Chag Sukkah. 7 feast days. 7 celestial circles. 7 cities of refuge. And when people move in these 7 streams, guess what happens? They get washed. And by getting washed in these 7 streams, it allows people to enter into what? New Jerusalem. Because you gotta go through the streams in order to get there. You can't just, I'm just gonna run through there. No, you gotta get clean. You gotta get washed. And by getting washed, and amazingly, I'm gonna keep talking. And in this way, the sun moves along the 7 celestial circles when he comes close to the earth. And then the earth is married and makes its fruit grow. Now guess what happened? The fruit growing. Because the earth is getting close. The sun is real close right now. You can go outside. People say, I never felt the sun on my skin. I say, go outside right now. Go outside right now. You want to see your flesh get purified. You want to get darker. You want to get nice and bright and tan. Go outside right now. The sun will touch you. Its rays gonna touch you hard. Right? You might wither your way if you ain't properly hydrated. And it says, but when the sun goes away, the earth laments, and the trees and all the fruits have no productivity. He said, when the sun goes away. So yeah, he said, no productivity. People saying, why don't I have any productivity in my life? Why don't I have no fruits in my life? Why don't I have this? Because you haven't let the sun rise in your heart. Because you scared. People say they afraid of the heat. So they trying to hide from the heat. A plant can't hide from the heat for too long. It ain't nothing gonna grow. You gotta stay in the heat in order for the thing to grow, to bear fruit. It said have no productivity. And this is by measure, and by the most precise measurements of the hours he fixed it by measure, by his own wisdom, visible and invisible. From the invisible things and the invisible things are all created. It says he created all the visible things, and he himself is invisible. Thus I am making it known to you, my children, that you may hand over the books to your children and throughout your generations, to your relatives, and among all nations who are discerning, so that they may fear Elohim, so that they may accept them, and they will, he said, will be more enjoyable and delightful food on earth. And they will read them and adhere to them. He says, but those who are undiscerning, skipping over and going over, undiscerning and who do not understand Yahuwah, neither fear Elohim nor accept them, but renounce them, and regard themselves as burdened by them, a terrible judgment is awaiting them. Happy is the person who puts his yoke on and carries it around, and he will plow in the great day of judgment. He's like, you see that? He said, happy is the person. Happy is the person. Happy is the person, right? Right, so this is the book of Yeshayahu chapter 11. Yeshayahu chapter 11. Yeshayahu, Isaiah chapter 11. Isaiah chapter 11. Verse 1. Yeshayahu chapter 11, 1. It says, there shall come forth a shoot from the stump of Yeshua. How when you have a stump, what happens? You got to cut the tree down in order for a shoot to spring out from a stump. Which means you got to leave the roots and the stump there. And when do tree stumps shoot for things, when do the tree stumps shoot for something out from the stump? When the sun comes. And the branch from its roots shall bear fruit. That happens in the summertime. Oh, what we in now? Please. Summertime. And the Ruach of Yahuwah shall rest upon him, the Ruach of wisdom and understanding. He said, there's a peace that passes all understanding. The spirit of wisdom, it says the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might. The spirit, it says the spirit of knowledge and the fear of Yahuwah. And his delight shall be in the, it says, and his delight shall be in the fear of Yahuwah. So he's saying delight in the fear of Yahuwah. Which means the spirit of wisdom and understanding, that's 2. The spirit of counsel and might, that's 2. The spirit of knowledge and the fear of Yahuwah, that's 3. 2, 4, 6, that's 6 total. And his delight shall be in the fear of Yahuwah. That's 7. Right, so this is the book of Psalms 40 and 7. Psalms 40 and 6. Psalms 40 and 6. It says, in sacrifice and offerings you have not delighted, but you have given me an open ear. Burnt offerings and sin offerings you have not required. Then I said, behold, I have come in the scroll of the book. It is written of me. I delight to do thy will, O my Elohim, for your Torah is within my heart. He said, my heart. He said he's going to delight himself in the fear of Yahuwah. Psalms 37:1. Psalm 37:1. Fret not thyself because of evildoers. Be not envious of wrongdoers, for they will soon fade like the grass. When the grass fades, and wither like green herbs. When does that happen? Either when the sun is scorching, ain't no water, or when the wintertime comes and it get cold. Trust in Yahuwah and do good. Dwell in the land and befriend faithfulness. Why? Let faithfulness and he's saying love not forsake you. He said, friend these type people. And he already said, delight yourself in Yahuwah, and he will give you the desires of your heart. He said he's going to delight these type. And he's going to have all these 6 things, and then he's going to have to delight himself in the fear of Yahuwah. I mean, he's going to delight himself in the Torah. He's going to delight himself. He's going to get the desires of his heart. And he's going to do Yahuwah's will. And he's going to get a whole bunch of other stuff. Let's see what happens. Commit your way to Yahuwah, trust in him, and he will act, which means you're going to ask for permission in everything you do. He will bring forth your righteousness as light. As what? He will bring forth your righteousness as light. If you do all this, he's going to make you, you're going to bring forth your righteousness as light, and your justice is noonday. Which means he's going to make you shine like the sun. Because, he prepared a tent, Ahal for the sun. And who can hide from the heat? It leaves his bride drink, it leaves his chamber. Just like a bridegroom leaving his chamber. Who can hide from the heat when you're doing all this? He said, man, you hot. You know how they say it? They see a beautiful woman, some people say, you hot. They don't even know what they're saying. Or they see a woman say, oh, you're hot. They don't even know what you're saying. He said, it's not my word like fire. Because you know why the word like fire on them? Because they delight to do Yahuwah's will. They delight in the fear of Yahuwah. He said, recognize. He said, recognize. Right? They used to say that. You better recognize. Right? And it says right here, be still before Yahuwah. So now he's saying your light gonna shine as a noonday. And then it says, be still before Yahuwah after he says that. And wait patiently for him. And he said, be still and wait patiently for him. Fret not yourself over the one who prospers in his way, over the vain man who carries out evil devices. Why? Because their crops and their crops and their produce is prospering. Because we didn't do what people do today. We sowed seed, we sowed fig leaves, we sowed trees, we planted and harvested. Everybody did. That's why some people in the country, they worship the rain, they worship the snow. They worship these things because they need this stuff to live. Right now they're playing with the weather. Cloud seeding. He said, don't fret yourself because of evil. He said, wait patiently for my rain. Because that ain't my rain. That rain they trying to create themselves. He said, my rain works. And when my rain comes down, it works. But it said right here, prosper in a way over the man who carries out evil devices. That's what they do. They made that from the device. We needed rain. But it said right here, verse 6 says, he will bring forth righteousness as a light, and your justice as a noonday. Be still before Yahuwah, your Elohim, and wait patiently for him. You gotta wait. Right, so this is the book of Yahusha, Joshua, chapter 10, verse 6. The book of Joshua, Yahusha, chapter 10, verse 6. The book of Joshua, Yahusha, chapter 10, verse 6. It says, and the men of Gibeon sent Yahusha at the camp of Gilgal, saying, do not relax your hand from your servants. Come up to us quickly and save us and help us. For all the kings of the Amorites who dwell in the hill country are gathered against us. He's like, man, everybody came against us. Look at what it says. So Yahusha went to Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor, right? All the mighty warriors. And Yahuwah said to Yahusha, do not fear them, for I have given them into your hand. No, he says, not a man of them shall stand before you. Say what? He said, they ain't going to stand before you. And just what happened? So Yahusha came up to them suddenly, having marched up all night from Gilgal. And Yahuwah threw them into a panic before Yasharal, who struck them with a great blow at Gibeon, and chased them by the way of the ascent of Beth Horon, and struck them as for Azekah and Makkedah, and as they fled before Yasharal. And as they fled before Yasharal, while they were going down to the ascent of Beth Horon, Yahuwah threw down large stones from Shamaim on them as far as Askel, and they died. There were more who died because of the hailstones than the son of Yasharal killed with the sword. And at that time, Yahusha spoke to Yahuwah in the day when Yahuwah gave the Amorites over to the son of Yasharal. And he said in the sight of Yasharal, son, stand still. Amazing, we just read the book of Talmud, Psalm 37. He said, when you do this, he said, your light gonna break forth like the noonday, like the sun. And he said, be still and wait patiently for him. He just said, son, stand still. Yeah, you bright son. You know, you son, the one who delight yourself in Yahuwah, the one who waiting patiently for him. He said, wait for him. He said, son, stand still. Because you waiting patiently for him, because you have wisdom, counsel, and might, and you delight yourself in Yahuwah, in the fear of Yahuwah. And guess what happens? He said, your light gonna shine like the noonday. But he tells you to stand still. He said, son, stand still. Because you're the light of the world. But then when Yahuwah says, son, stand still. Can you do that? And at Gibeon, and says at Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Algon, he said, moon, stand still. Because you know they all travel together. He said, when the sun stands still, the moon got to stand still. Shall I, your mother, and your brothers bow down and worship you? So when the sun said stand still, when he told the sun stand still, the moon got to stand still. And the moon stopped until the nation took vengeance on their enemies. He said, you got to stand still. Right, so this is the book of so this is the book of Exodus, Exodus, chapter 14, verse 10. Exodus chapter 14, verse 10. And when Pharaoh drew near, the people of Yasharal lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians were marching after them. And they feared greatly. That's what happens. People fear greatly. Oh, my finances ain't working. Oh, my stocks went down. My cryptocurrency went down. I ain't have no money to pay this. I ain't have no money to pay that. Everybody coming in. I ain't have this. I don't have that. I don't have control. I lost control. You start losing control of yourself. Start losing control of your mind. You don't know where you are anymore. He said, I don't delight to see you. I don't have no smile on my face. He says, when Pharaoh, Yasharal, he said, lifted their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians were marching after them. And they feared greatly. And the people of Yasharal cried out to Yahuwah. They did what? That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to ask him for permission. Do everything in prayer and supplication. And you always have confidence in Yahushua Mashiach. And you have a peace that passes all understanding. And it said they feared, and it says marching out fear greatly. And the people cried to Yahuwah. And they said to Mashah, is it because there are no graves in Mizraim that you have taken us away to die in the wilderness? That's when you'll find out about people. When trouble comes, when situations happen, that's when you're going to find out about people around you. They're going to start saying stuff out of their mouth, and they're going to be like, why are they saying this wicked stuff? You must forgot the words. Master, you don't care that we perish? Master. When they was on the ship in Mark 4. You don't care that we perish? He said, where's your Amunah at? He said, that's how you know when people got where their Amunah at. He said, you ain't got no faith. You ain't got no love for me. You ain't delighting yourself in Yahuwah. son, stand still. Let's see what happens. They cried you, and they said to Mashah, is it because there are no graves in Mizraim that you have taken us out here to die in the wilderness? Now you brought us out here to get killed. What have you done to us, bringing us out of Mizraim? Why you bring us out of that? Why you brought me out of that? Why you brought me out of the life of living in strip club? Why you brought me out of the life of fornication? Why you brought me out of the life of drinking? Why you brought me out of the life of lying and corruption? Why you brought me out of the life of anger and resentment and bitterness and hatred? Why you brought me out of the life of that? Why you brought me out of the life of rivalries and adultery and fornication? Why you brought me out of that life? Why you brought me out of the life of abundance and gluttony? Why you brought me out of that life? He said, what you brought me out of that for? I want to go back. You brought me out here to die, you was already dead. For the wages of sin is death. You were already dead. You know what it says? What have you done to us and bring us out of Mizraim? Is not this what we said to you in Mizraim? He said, leave me alone. When we was in Mizraim, we were telling you to leave me alone. We said this in Mizraim. Didn't we say this to you? He said, I brought a bunch of complainers out of Mizraim. I brought a bunch of people who never wanted to leave in the first place. And get what he says? Leave us alone that we may serve the Egyptians, that we may go back to what we used to do. That we can serve and be a slave to sin. I ain't never been in bondage. We ain't ever been in bondage to no man, as they said in Yukinai 8. Nobody, we've never been in bondage to no one. But you've been a slave to sin. He said what? You serve the Egyptians. For it were better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness. It's better for us to stay in sin and serve the Egyptians. Mizraim served the children of Ahal, a bunch of sorcerers, magicians, and enchanters, and warlocks, and necrons, and people who follow Azel, Amaros, and Amarok, who follow Asbaal, who worship the Shamash, the sun, moon, and stars. He said it's better for us to do that. And to fornicate, commit adultery, and do orgies, parties, strip clubs, do all this stuff. It was better for us to do that. It's better for us to fornicate, have one-night stands, meet me here at the hotel, and we just leave after that. It was better for me to do that type of life and have no love, no compassion, no nothing. It was better for me that life. He says, and Mashah said to the people, fear not, stand firm. Fear not. I delight myself in the fear of Yahuwah, not in the fear of the Mizraim. I delight myself in the fear of Yahuwah, not in the fear of my old life, in my old habits, in my old ways. I delight myself in the fear of Yahuwah. And Mashah said to the people, fear not, stand firm and see the salvation of Yahuwah. Stand still. You ever stand firm? You put your feet in the ground and somebody push you and you don't move? You're like, I'm standing firm. Somebody push you, you don't even move. Stand still. Son, stand still. He said, stand still. He said, I'm going to make your light shine as a new day. Stand still and wait for him. Wait for you. Son, stand still. Because he made a tent for the sun. But he also tells the sun, he put a sun inside of your tent. The day gone, day star, but he also said stand still. In these types of situations, stand still. Don't move. And see the salvation of Yahuwah. See it. Which he will work for you today. Stand still. People like, well, they want to duck and run. I'm finna run. I gotta run away. A situation happened, I gotta run away. A situation happened, I gotta run away. I gotta run away. I gotta run. I gotta run. I gotta get away from it. I gotta run. Now he says, stand still. That's the only way you're gonna see it. If you run away, you'll never see it. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall never see them again. He like, he said, I ain't never gonna see them again. He like, yeah, you ain't gonna see them again. If you fear me. That Yahuwah will fight for you. And you will have, and he says, and you have only to be silent. That's all you gotta do. He said, you ain't gotta say nothing. He said, I'm gonna fight for you. He said, how are you gonna do that? It's not my word like fighting. Is not my debar like fire? He said, man, and then verse 15 says, Yahuwah said to Mashah, why do you cry unto me? Tell the people of Yasharal to go forward. He said, what you crying to me for? Tell them to go forward. And you know why he asked him? He was crying to him. He wanted to make sure it was okay to go forward. Is it okay? Go forward. Because he asked for permission. And get what it says. Tell the people of Yasharal to go forward. Lift up your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it, that the people of Yasharal may go through the sea on the ground, the dry ground. Right, so this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 24:1. Ezekiel. In the 9th year, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, the word of Yahuwah came to me, son of Ahal. Write down the name of this day, this very day. He said, write it down. Do people write that? He said, do you write down? He said, do you know all the 12 months in a year? And I breathe the sun. And then Yahuwah tell you, write it down this very day. He said, he said, write it down. It says, and then the king of Babylon has laid siege on Jerusalem this very day, and utter a parable to the rebellious house, and say to them, thus says Yahuwah, he's a rebellious house. He said, do you live in a rebellious house? He said, do you have a rebellious body? Do you have a rebellious mind? Do you have rebellious eyes? Do you have rebellious ears? Do you have a rebellious mouth? Do you have rebellious knees? Do you have rebellious hands? Do you have rebellious feet? Do you have a rebellious house? And say to them, thus says Yahuwah, set on the pot, set it on, pour it water also. Put in the pieces of meat, and all good pieces, and the thigh and the shoulder, fill it with choice bones. Take the choices of one of the flock and piles of logs under it. Boil it well. Seethe also its bones in it. Therefore, thus says Yahuwah Elohim, woe to the bloody city. Look what you just did. Woe to the bloody city. He's like, man, go ahead and make all you rebellious, hard-headed people, go ahead and cut you up something real good, throw it in a pot. And throw it in there and cut it up and put it in there. He said, you might as well go back. He said, you bloody city, to the pot whose corrosion is in it, and whose corrosion has gone out of it. Take out of it piece after piece without making any choice. Don't even sort it out. For the blood she has shed in her midst, she put it on the bare rock. Says she did not pour it out on the ground to cover it with dust. To rouse my wrath, to take vengeance, I have set on the bare rock the blood she has shed, that it should not be covered. He's like, look what they done did. He said, on the rock. He said, I shed it on the blood. He said, that it may not be covered. You shed it on the rock. He said, they shed it on the rock. And guess what it said? Therefore, thus says Yahuwah, woe to the bloody city. I also will make the piles great. Heaps on the dogs kindle the fire. Boil the meat well. Mix the spices, and let the bones be burnt up. Then set it empty upon the coals, that it may become hot, and its copper may burn. He said that its uncleanness may be melted in it, its corrosion consumed. She has wearied herself with toil. Its abundant corrosion does not go out of it. He's saying it ain't even going out of the house. All that corruption within, it ain't leaving. He says, into the fire with its corrosion. What do you think Yahushua going to do when he comes back here? When he comes back here to cast the false Nabi'im and the Nabiyahs and all the people who follow all those people in those teachings, he's going to cast them in a lake of fire with fire and brimstone. People say, why are he going to do that? Because all the corrosion ain't go out of you. He said, you bloody. He said, you crucify Yahushua afresh and bring him to an open shame. But guess what it says? Because I have cleansed, it says, on the account of your unclean lewdness, because I would have cleansed you, and you were not clean from your uncleanness. You shall not be clean anymore, till I have satisfied my fury upon you. He's like, I'm trying to clean you up. And he says, I am Yahuwah, and I have spoken. It shall come to pass, and I will do it. And I will not go back. I will not spare. I will not relent. According to your ways and your deeds, you will be judged, declares Yahuwah Allah. He said, according to your deeds. Verse 15, the word of Yahuwah came to me, son of Adam. Behold, I'm about to take the delight of your eyes away from you at a stroke. Yet you shall not mourn or weep, nor shall your tears run down. He said, don't even cry. Sigh, but not aloud. Make no mourning for the dead. He says, bind on your turban and put your shoes on your feet. And do not cover your lips, nor eat the bread of men. He said, don't even eat the bread of men. Don't even cover your lips. He said, don't even eat the bread of men. So I spoke to the people in the morning, and at evening, my wife died. I started talking in the morning, and then by the time evening came, my wife died. And then the next morning, I did as I was commanded. And then when the morning rose, my wife died at evening, and then all night. And then when the morning rose, I did nothing. He did exactly what he was commanded to do. And the people said to me, will you not tell us what these things mean for us? That you are acting thus? Because sometimes people will do things and people will not understand what they're doing. Or say things, be a misunderstanding. It says, and then I said to them, the word of Yahuwah came to me. Say to the house of Yasharah, thus says Yahuwah Elohim, behold, I will profane my sanctuary, the pride of your power, the delight of your eyes, and the yearning of your souls, and your sons and your daughters whom you left behind shall fall by the sword. And you shall do as I have done. You shall not cover your lips, nor eat bread of men. Your turbans shall be on your heads, and your shoes on your feet. You shall not mourn or weep, but you shall rot away in your iniquities and groan to one another. Why? We shouldn't have left it in Mizraim. You brought us out here to die? He said, why don't you tell us what these things mean? I'm about to tell you. Right, so this is the book of Luke. This is the book of Luke 23:26. And as they led him away, they seized one Simon Cyrene, who was coming in from the country, and laid on him the cross to carry it behind Yahushua. And there following him a great multitude of people and of women who were mourning. They were crying. They were mourning. What was the commandment to Ezekiel? He said, don't even mourn, no weep. He said, don't even cry. He said, thus says Yahuwah, the bloody city Yasharah. He said, your sons and your daughters, they're gonna fall by the sword. They're gonna die. And it says, and the women were mourning and lamenting for him. He said, what you crying for? What was the commandment to him? He said, oh, at evening my wife died. But turning to them, Yahushua said, daughters of Jerusalem, do not wait for me. Don't you wait for me? Because the commandment was, don't wait for me. He said, I spoke in the morning, because Yahushua was crucified at the third hour. That's when he was crucified, 4 in the morning. And guess what? He the 6th to the 9th hour, it was darkness in the land to the 9th hour. He said, what? He said, and turning to them, you should say, daughter of Jerusalem, do not wait for me, but wait for yourselves and for your children. Because all your children, as your Qahalath said, they're going to be died by the sword. To the bloody city. He said that the corruption and corrosion has not left the city. For all the corruption and corrosion that's inside the city. He said, don't wait for yourselves, wait for your children. For behold, the day is coming when they will say, Barak is the barren. Barak is the barren, and the wombs that never bore, and the breasts that never nursed. Did Ezekiel wife have a child? Because all the other children that he was talking about, he's like, all y'all children gonna die. And you're gonna do just like I did. He said, you're going to do the same thing I did. You're not going to cry either. Matter of fact, you're going to be worse. And guess what he says? The breast and never nurse. Then they will begin to say to the mountains, fall on us, and the hills cover us. For they will do these things when the wood is green. For if they do these things when the wood is green, what will happen when it's dry? Look at everything. Look here. He said, look what happened. This Matthew 27:54. 27:45. Matthew 27:45. Actually, Matthew 27:32. And they went out and they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. They compelled this man to carry his cross. And when they came to the place called Qahalath, which means a place of a skull, they said, a mound of skulls. They offered him wine to drink, mixed with gall, and he tasted it, and he would not drink it. And when they had crucified him, they divided his garments among them by casting lots. Guess what? And they sat down and kept watch over him. And over his head, they put the charge against him, which read, Yahusha, this is the Yahusha, the king of the Yahudim. The two robbers who were crucified with him, one on the right and one on the left. And those who passed by derided him, wagging their heads, saying, you who will destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the son of Elohim, come down from the cross. He's like, you the son? He's like, you the son, come down. But he say, son, stand still. Come down from the cross. You the son, ain't you? Come down. He said, son, stand still. He said, wait for you. Get what it says. The son of Elohim come down from the cross. And so also the chief priest, the scribes, and the elders mocked him, saying, he said, others, he cannot save himself. If he is the Malach Yasharal, let him come down from the cross, and we will believe in him. We said, we're going to believe in him. But he trusts in Elohim, that Elohim delivered him now. If he desires, you trust in Elohim, because he asked you for permission in everything. It's prayer and supplication. He said, trust in Yahuwah. Why? He trusts his advice. Son, stand still. Wait patiently for him. Delight yourself in Yahuwah. It's a peace that passes all understanding. Because everybody has understanding of the wisdom and understanding of the feast and all the cause and all these things. Yeah, it's the understanding of it. But he said there's something that passes. He said, he's the king of Yasharal, let him come down from the cross, and you will believe in him. He trusts in Elohim, let Yahuwah deliver him now if he desires him. For he said, I am the son of Elohim. And the two robbers were crucified with him, also reviled him in the same way. Why would he do that? He prepared a tent for the sun. He said, who can hide from the heat? Who can hide from the heat? Why you think they talking about? Because they trying to hide from the heat. Because you know when it get hot, you start complaining. You start talking against somebody. When it get too hot, you like, it's hot. Or you start yelling. You start saying things you shouldn't say. When it was at war when Mashal was there, they said, you brought us out here to come and us out here to die? You brought us all the way out here to Mizraim to die, to bring us out? That's what you did. You brought us all the way out here to do that. He's like, stand still. Stand firm and see the salvation of Yahuwah. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over the land to the 9th hour. Sun, stand still. Moon, stop shining. As Joshua said. Everything stops. It says, and from the 6th to the 9th hour, there was darkness over the land to the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour, you should cry out with a loud voice, saying, Aliyah, Aliyah, Lama Sabbathana, Ma'alahim, Ma'alahim, why hast thou forsaken me? Michelle, why are you crying to me? Tell the people of Yasharal to go forward. Amazing. This is right there in Qahalath. He brought him out of the land of Israel. Why are you crying to me? Tell the people of Yasharal to go forward. And guess what it says? And some of the bystanders hearing it said, this man is calling for Aliyah. And one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with sour wine and put it on a reed and gave it him to drink. But others said, wait, let's see where Aliyah will come and save him. And when you should cry out again with a loud voice, he yielded up the ruach. He said, the only thing you got to do, Yakaziah, he told Messiah, the only thing you got to do, the people got to do is just be silent. He said, don't even mourn or weep. He said, to the 9th hour, but Ezekiel, he said what? He said, at evening, my wife died. And I didn't even cry. Matter of fact, at evening, Yahusha died. And the people didn't cry at all. Except those who followed him. Those who knew who he was and saw the salvation of Yahuwah. Because better is to go to the house of mourning than the house of laughter, with feasting, with a bunch of people who didn't even cry when they killed the son of Yahuwah. Right, this is the book of Matthew. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 26. So this is the book of Matthew. Look at Matthew chapter 26. Matthew 26. 26 and 26 and 30. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out of the Mount of Olives. Then Yahushua said to them, you will all fall away from me this night, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. After he said right here, but after I am raised up, I will go before you to Galilee. Qahalath said to him, answer him, he said, though they all fall away because of you, I will never fall away. And she said to him, truly I tell you, this very night, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Like he already just told him he's gonna rise up the next day. He already done told him everything he's gonna do. But for some reason, he didn't have a heart to perceive what he just said. Peter, right there, he just said, but after I am raised up, he just said that to him. But for some reason, he can't perceive that he just said he's gonna raise up. He's gonna come back from the dead. The only thing he could think about was the arrogance in his tongue. And it says, and guess what he said? Verse 35 says, and Qahalath said to him, even if I must die with you, I will not deny you. And all the disciples said the same. It says, and then Yahushua went with them to a place called Gethsemane. And he said to his disciples, sit here while I go there and pray. And taking with him Qahalath and the two sons of Zebedee, he began to be sorrowful and troubled. It's better to go to the house of mourning than the house of laughter. And then he said to them, my soul is very sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch with me. And going a little further, he fell on his face and prayed, saying, my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as my will, but your will. All right, so this is the book of, going to verse 57 of 26. And it says, then those who sat siege Yahushua led him to Caiaphas, the high Kohen, where the scribes and the elders had gathered, and Qahalath was following him at a distance, and as far as the country courtyard of the high Kohen. And going inside, he sat with the guards to see the end. Now the chief priests and the whole council were seeking false testimony against Yahushua, that they might put him to death, but they found none. Though many false witnesses came forward, at least two came forward and said, this man said, I am able to destroy this temple of Elohim and rebuild it in 3 days. And the high Kohen stood and said, have you not no answer to make? What is this these men testify against you? But Yahushua remained solid. He said, all you got to do is just be solid. Stand still. Stand firm and see the salvation of Yahushua. Wait patiently for him. He said, would people be able to wait in this type of situation? Stand in the midst of all this and say, you know what, I'm going to wait right here in the midst of everybody's, all these things, people screaming at me and all the things. Because you know in the book of Ecclesiastes, it said, when the anger of a ruler rises against you, leave not your place. And you see Yahushua standing right in the middle of it. He's standing firm. And he's seeing the salvation of Yahushua. He goes to salvation. You ain't going to be able to see me in your situation if you leave. Because all he wants you to do is see me. He said, you ain't going to be able to see me. But now you see me. Michelle, tell the people y'all try to go forward. The only thing y'all got to do is just stay quiet. Stay silent. Matter of fact, don't you even mourn or weep when your wife dies. Put your turban on your head and your shoes on your feet. And don't you even mourn or weep. You know what right here? It says, you have no answer to make? What is this that these men testify against you? But Yahushua remained silent. And the high Kohen said to him, I adjure you by the living Elohim, tell us that you are the Mashiach, the salvation of Yahuwah. And get what he says. The son of Elohim, Yahuwah. Yahushua said to him, you have said so. You don't even know what you just said. Same thing with Peter. After I am risen, I am going to deny you 3 times. You just hear what I said? I'm going to be risen. They don't even perceive what they say. It says, and the high Kohen said to him, I adjure you by the living Elohim, tell us that you are the Mashiach, the son of Elohim. Yahushua said to him, you have said so. But I tell you, from now on, you will see the son of Adam seated at the right hand of power and coming in the clouds of Shamash. He said, you're going to see me. You're going to see the salvation of you. But he's not going to be salvation for everybody when they see. Then the high Kohen tore his robe and said, he had uttered blasphemy. But he can't perceive what he just said. He can't even see it. All right, so this is the book of Psalms 119, 87. Psalms 119, 87. Psalms 119. Psalms 119 and 87. Psalms 119, 87. Psalms 119, 87. Actually, Psalms 119, 84. It says, how long must your servant endure? When will you judge those who persecute me? Stand still and see the salvation. Son, stand still. Wait patiently for me. Delight yourself in your Lord. He'll give you the desires of your heart. He said, wait patiently for me. He said, I'll make you shine, just like the sun in the noonday. Why do you think there was darkness over the land of 6 and 9 hours? I'll make your light shine just like the noonday. And guess what he said? How long must your servant endure? When will you judge those who persecute me? They persecute me. They're talking about me. I'm standing right in the midst of it. He says, the insolent have dug pitfalls over me for me. They do not live according to your Torah. Huh? That's what happens. When you don't live according to the Torah, you are the persecutors. You become the persecutor and not the persecuted. All your commandments are sure. They persecute me with falsehood. Help me. They're lying. They persecute me with falsehood. Why do they run false witnesses? Why do you think they were mocking Yahushua? Why do you think they were doing all this stuff to him? A servant is no greater than his master. You get what he says? They have almost made an end of me on earth. They almost took everything I got. But I have not forsaken your precepts, because I delight to do your will. For your Torah is in my heart. In your steadfast love, give me life, that I may keep the testimony of your mouth. Forever, O Yahuwah, your word is firmly fixed in Shamash, just like the four corners of the earth, just like the 364-day cycle. It's fixed. It does not change. It's firmly fixed. Sun, stand still. Moon, stand still. Because the word is fixed in Shamash. This is Psalm 33. Psalm 33 and 1. Psalm 33 and 1. It says, shout for joy in Yahuwah, O you righteous. Praise benefits the upright. Give thanks to Yahuwah with the lyre. Make melody with the harp of 10 strings. Sing to him a new song. Play skillfully on the string with your loud shouts. For Yahuwah your Elohim is upright, and all his works are done in faithfulness. He loves righteousness and justice. The earth is full of steadfast love of Yahuwah. By the word of Yahuwah, the Shamaim were made, and by the breath of his mouth, all their hosts. The Shamash community are stand still and see the salvation of Yahuwah. Shamash community in yard, sun, moon, and stars. Stand still and see the salvation of Yahuwah. By the word, the bar of Yahuwah, the Shamaim were made. Stand still. He said, now let the word take over. And guess what it says? By the word of Yahuwah, the Shamaim were made, and the breath of his mouth, their host. He gathers the waters of the sea as a heap, and he puts a deep in the storehouse. Why is he doing that? Let all the earth fear Yahuwah. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. For he spoke, and it came to be. He commanded, and it what? He commanded, and it stood firm. Stand firm, and see the salvation of Yahuwah. Stand still, son, and see the salvation of Yahuwah. He commanded, and he said, all you gotta do is be quiet and stand still. Matter of fact, don't mourn or weep, because at evening my wife died. At evening, Yahushua died. He said, don't mourn for me. Don't mourn for me. Right? He said, stood firm. Right? He commanded and it stood firm. And so this is the book of Job, chapter 3. book of Job, chapter 2, verse 2. And Yahuwah said to Satan, "From where have you come?" Satan answered Yahuwah and said, "From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it." And Yahuwah said to Satan, Satan, "Have you considered my servant Eve? Have you considered Yahuwah? That there is none like him on the earth?" He said, "Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me to do thy will." Who's greater than him when he was on earth? Let's see what happens. That there is none like him on the earth, blameless and upright man, who fears Yahuwah. He delights himself in the fear of Yahuwah. And yes, y'all try to love him too. You know that one man that one man they talk about? That one man that 7 women gonna take hold of? He says, "A blameless and upright man who fears Yahuwah and turns away from wrong. He still holds fast his integrity, but he stands still. Although you incited me against him to destroy him without reason." Man, they don't want to destroy me from the earth. Yahuwah help me. He said, "Forever you the bar and settle in Shamash." He says, destroy him without reason. You have no reason, because he's innocent. What's the reason you telling me to kill this man? They brought up many false witnesses. And finally, some more false witnesses came. He uttered blasphemy. You don't hear what they're saying about you? What's your reason for doing this? This man ain't do nothing to nobody. He innocent. But for us, get what it says. And then Satan answered Yahuwah and said, "Skin for skin, all that a man has, he will give for his life. But stretch out your hand and touch his bones and his flesh." His bones and his flesh. This is not bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called a son. Who's his bone and his flesh? He said, touch his bone and flesh, and he will curse you to your face. He said, man, you touch his bones and his flesh. You touch the things that's connected to him, his DNA, that's close to him, that's real close. He said, man, ain't nowhere in the world he gonna be able to do that. But amazing, what happened to you? You caused your blood and flesh? And evening, he said, guess what happened? And he will curse you to your face. And Yahuwah said to Satan, behold, he is in your hand, only spare his life. And get what it says. So Satan went out from the presence of Yahuwah and struck Eve with loathsome swords from the soles of his foot to the crown of his head. And he took a piece of broken pottery, that which he to scrape himself, and he sat in the ashes. He's like, man, look, I got boils, I got a whole bunch of diseases, ringworms, toenails, all types of bumps and bruises all over my body. Then Satan coming at me full force. He said, what do he want you to do? I want you to curse you. That's all I want you to do. Let's see what happens. Then his wife said to him, do you still hold fast your integrity? You don't hear all these things they say about you, Yahushua? He uttered blasphemy. They took a reed and smote him in the face, grabbed something on the table and hit him in the head. He said, you don't hear all these things they say about you, Yahushua? Oh, you think he was talking about you? He said, search the scriptures, and then you think you have eternal life? They're talking about me. Do you still hold fast your integrity? Curse Yahuwah and die. My Elohim, why hast thou forsaken me? And what did he do at Eve? Oh, he died. Just like Ezekiel's wife. And guess what happened? But he said to her, you speak as one of the foolish women speak, the stupid women speak. Oh, you mean stupid Yasharah, as you read in Yirmiyahu in 4 Baruch. Stupid Yasharah, don't you know you're stoning the stone? You bruising the stone. Stupid Yasharah, what are you doing? the stupid women do. Why would he say that? Shall we receive good from Yahuwah, and shall we not receive evil? And all this evil did not sin with his lips. Because Yahuwah is maker of the good and evil. Because remember, we got in our consciousness the knowledge of good and evil. You see that true? He said you better discern between good and evil, or you end up killing your Mashiach. Right? He said, man, he said, touch it and touch his bone in his flesh, right? You see him going after his bone in flesh. Let's see who his bone in his flesh is. Right, so this is the book of this is the book of 2 Samuel. This book is 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 1. 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 1. 2 Samuel chapter 5, verse 1. Then all the child of Yasharal came to David, Daoud, at Hebron, and said, Behold, we are your bone and your flesh. Touch his bone and his flesh. He said, is he going to do it for nothing? Are you going to say it for nothing? Oh, stupid Yasharal. He's saying, hey, will he do it for nothing? Touch his bone and his flesh. For this cause, amazingly, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, he shall be called a shock. Amazingly, the woman was made for the man. Yasharal and Yehuda were made for Yahushua. Not Yasharal and Yehuda made for you. Yasharal and Yehuda were made for Yahushua. Because y'all you came out from him. It's supposed to. But it said right here, Behold, we are your bone and your flesh. In times past, when Saul was king over us, it was you who led out and brought Yasharal in. And Yahuwah said to you, You shall be the shepherd of my people Yasharal, and you shall be a prince over Yasharal. If you be the king of Yasharal, come down from the cross. You think he was talking about David? Who is this bride? Yasharal. He's like, yo, you're my bone and my flesh. Right, this is 2 Samuel 19 and 11. He said, man, have you considered my servant Ehud? Have you considered my servant David? Oh, no. Have you considered my servant Yahushua? Have you considered him? Man, he almost killed me from the earth. He said right here, this 2 Samuel 19, or Shani Shamuel 19:11. And King David sent his message to Zadok and Abiathar the priest, say to the elders of Yehuda, why would you be last to bring the king back to his house, when the word of all Yasharal has come to the king? He's like, man, look at here. The king has said, why y'all gonna I will be last? He said the word came to Yasharal. Verse 12 said, You are my brothers. Huh? You are my brothers. You are my bone and my flesh. Man, let me touch his bone and his flesh. Man, he's going to curse you to your face. You don't hear all these things that said by Yahusha? And he answered them not a word. He said, stand still. So all you got to do is be silent, and I'm going to fight for you. That's what he told him, son, stand still. He said, man, when the sun go down, he said, morning I started talking, and evening my wife died. The ninth hour, Yahushua died. And his wife went in, and she never gave suck or had a child. It says, You are my brothers, you are my bone and my flesh. Why then should you be the last to bring back the king? Why are you going to be the last to bring back the king? You my bone and my flesh. What happened? And say to Amasa, Are you not my bone and my flesh? So all them elders and teachers, evangelists and prophets and elders and all the people, the two thieves, the men and the women that derided him looking at Yahushua on the cross, they were his bone and his flesh. All the women mourning and weeping, and he told them not to mourn and weep for me, weep for your children. For the day gonna come when they say Barak is the wound and they ain't give no suck, because they're gonna come and lay siege to Jerusalem, and they're gonna lay you flat to the ground. You gonna mourn for that. Don't weep for me, just like he told Ezekiel. Don't weep for me. That evening your wife died. At evening, Yahusha died. And nobody wept. Except the house of David and Nathan apart. Why? Because they follow Yahusha. It's better to go to the house of mourning than the house of feasting. Half of Jerusalem and Yehuda and Yahshua went to feasting for the unleavened bread and laughter after they killed Yahusha, and the ones who followed Yahusha were mourning and weeping in their house for Pesach. And it says right here, why then should you be last to bring back the king? And say to a Mesa, are you not my bone and my flesh? Elohim did so to me, and more so also. If you are not commander of my army from now on in the place of Joab, and he swayed the heart of all the men of Yehuda as one man. And you know what it was made for? This is not bone my bone, bone my bone, flesh my flesh. For this cause shall a man leave father and mother and cleave unto his Ishar, and they shall be one flesh. What do you think David's doing right here? He's cleaving to his bone and his flesh. And guess what they're doing? They're rejecting him. He said, y'all last? He's trying to persuade people as one man, a God, because that's what he made Adam. One flesh. He said, aren't you my bone and my flesh? He's talking about a woman and a man. He said, I'll give to you a mystery. I'm talking about Yahusha and the body. I'm talking about Yahusha and Mashiach and the body. And it says right here, so that they sent word to the king, return both you and all your servants. So the king came back to Yarden, and Yehuda came to Gilgal to meet the king and to bring the king over Yarden. Who was the person who crossed the river? To go bury his father? And amazing, his brothers, when he crossed the code, he said, our father is dead, and Yahusha's going to treat us, he's going to treat us real bad, because we done did him wrong. But in the book of Bereshit chapter 50, he said, as for you, you thought evil against me, but Yahuwah meant it for my good, as it is this day, to save much people alive. He said, you thought evil against me, but he meant it for my good. He said, and guess what he said? Right, so we're going to, he said, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. So this is the book of, this is the book of Psalms 22. Psalms 22. Psalms 20:21. My Elohim, why hast thou forsaken me? Psalms 20:21. My Elohim, why hast thou forsaken me? He said, man, you let me touch his bone and his flesh, man, he'll curse you to your face. He will. He gonna curse you. He gonna have to. You touch his bone and his flesh. You think about it. All the people down there looking at Yahusha and Satan touching his bone and his flesh. All of them. He all in their head, all in their mind. And guess what? Yahusha said? Yahuwah said, stand firm. Stand still. And see the salvation of you. And that was it. He was in salvation. And get what it says. Why are you far from saving me? From the words of my groaning. All my groaning. Oh my Elohim, I cried by day, but you do not answer, and by night, but I find no rest. I think he cried twice in the totality. 6 and the 9th hour was darkness, but into the 9th hour. Sun, stand still. Moon, stand still, and see the salvation of you. Sun, stand still. Moon, stand still, and see the bar of you that made you. And they stood. They sat down looking at him too. skipping over to verse 20, Psalm 22:16. Psalms 22:15. It says, my strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue stinks to my jaws. You lay me in the dust of the death. You know, in the potsherd, when you put a plant in the pot, what happens when you don't put no water in it? When you thirsty and it got no water, it dries up. Because you know why? It ain't connected to the ground. It's suspended. And if you don't continue to water it, it will die. Why do you think when they took Yahusha and put him up on the stake and everybody was watching him, he wasn't connected to the ground. His roots weren't in the ground. He was like a potsherd in a plant pot. Because you know, we're farmers. He was just like in a pot. And if you don't continue to water it, it's going to die. He says, my tongue sticks to my jaws, and you lay me in the dust of death. Because he's getting ready to die. This is what happens when the sun comes out and ain't no water, ain't no rain. Your plants are going to die. He said, wait patiently for you. He's going to come just like the rain. It's like the first rain and the latter rain. Listen right here. Verse 16, for dogs encompass me, they circle me. A company of evildoers encircle me. They have pierced my hands and my feet. Stand still, son, and see the salvation of you. How do you think he was able to stand still on the cross, on totality? They had to pierce his hands and his feet on the piece of wood. You got to make that pot. You know how you make a pot plant and you put a stick in the pot to make it stand straight up? And it says, they stare and gloat over me. I said, I can't, get what he said, verse 17, I can count all my bones. This is my bone and my flesh. My brothers, my sisters. What are y'all doing? My bone and my flesh. Yashua and Yehuda. The elders and teachers and the scribes. He said, look what y'all doing. You my bone and my flesh. Aren't y'all my bone and my flesh? What you waiting so long to bring back the king? What you taking so long? He says, they stare and gloat over me. They divide my garments among them. He said, all my bones stare at me. He said, Satan said, touch his bones and his flesh, he'll curse you to his face. He'll curse you to your face. And he touched every single one of them people. He was touching them on the neck, on the back, on the nut, on the mind. Got it all this, got them saying all types of things out of their mouth. You brought us out of here to die? You could have been back in Mizraim. And get what he said. They divided my garments among them, and my clothing they cast lots. He's like, man, look at y'all doing. He said, look what y'all doing. So this is the book of Psalms, actually. This is the book of Malachi. Malachi. Chapter 3, verse 6. Malachi 3 and 6. For I am Yahuwah, do not change. He the same Yahuwah from the beginning, the same one. He said, I ain't changed nothing. I'm still a farmer. I still sow seed. I still remain the same. I still fix the four corners of the earth. I still have seasons, summer and fall. I still have Qahalath. I still have early summer, late summer, early winter, late winter. I still have the seasonal cycles. I still have your fruit in my hand. If I don't pour any water on you, you're going to die. If I don't pour no water on your mind, you're going to die. If I don't connect all the pieces together, you're going to die. If I don't allow you to see me, you're going to die. For wisdom is given an inheritance, and a prophet in the seat stand still. And see the salvation, right? For Yahuwah do not change. Therefore, O children of your code are not consumed. He's like, man, you ain't consumed. Because the sun ain't going to take, you go outside, the sun ain't going to kill you. Because you know why? Because your dark melanated skin can absorb the sun. It ain't going to burn you. Man, it's going to make you a little more tanner. It ain't going to do nothing to you. Both male and female. It ain't going to do nothing to your hair, but make it grow. You get what it said? For the days of your fathers, since from the days of your fathers you have turned aside from my statutes and have not kept them. He's like, he's telling you, he's like, this is the reason why. What is the statutes and judgments? Bring the lamp up. Bring out pure olive oil, let me continue to burn. Make sure you bring not strange incense to my altar. Make sure you, when you offer your bread on the sugar, make sure you're made of fine flour mixed with oil, of beaten works. Matter of fact, when you make your tabernacle, make sure it's a certain length and measure. Matter of fact, when you make your tent, make sure it has tent pegs in it. Make sure it's fully fastened to the ground. Make sure you make these things pure. But it says right here, you have not kept my statutes, and you have not kept them, right? Return to me, and I will return to you, says Yahuwah of hosts. But you say, how shall we return? Will a man rob Elohim? Yet you are robbing me. But you say, how have we robbed you? In your tithes and contributions. What do you mean tithes and contributions? Because tithes were crops. Tithes were the fruits of the earth. The crops, the grain offerings, all these things. It was always fruits and vegetables. It was always crops and grains. It was always the things that you needed. And all of it came from the earth. Even the pure gold that they put on the temple, even the wood that they made. Everything Yahuwah gave you was from the earth. It was all produced for free. And get what it says. You are robbing me. He said, you're talking about you are cursed with the curse. For you robbing me, this whole nation. Bring the full tithe into the storehouse. What do you put in the storehouse? Food. Grain, barley, wheat, oil, eggs, cumin, meat. Because fruit you gotta eat. They can't stay in there too long. Guess what happens? That there may be found food in my house. There be bread in my house. You know, the temple, the priests in the temple, they had to have bread every day on the shulchan. They offered to Yahuwah. So all the people in the whole place was working together to make sure the bread was continually on the top of the shulchan, and the bread was there so that Yahuwah would be satisfied every single day. And that's what you got to do inside of your body every single day. Make sure the bread is inside your house. That Yahuwah wrath don't pour out on you. You're like, where my food at? You gotta make it. And guess what it says? That there may be food in my house, and thereby put me to the test and say, Yahuwah of hosts, if I will not open, he says, therefore put me to the test. And he waiting. And say, Yahuwah of hosts, and I will not open the windows of Shamash to you and pour down from you the blessing until there is no more need. Which means he's going to pour down rain and snow on you. I'll pour down rain and snow, and the crops are going to come up, and you're going to have abundance of food. He said, stand still. He said, stand still, son, and wait patiently for Yahuwah. What are you waiting on? Rain and snow. And guess what it says? It says, and pour you a blessing until you have no more need. I will rebuke the devourer for you. That's all of the caterpillars and all of the actual animals that eat your stuff, that devour your stuff. And blessings until there is no more need. And I will rebuke the devourer for you so that it will not destroy the fruits of your soil. What we in now? Summertime. He said, man, they're going to eat your fruits. He's like, man, you know what? I rebuke the creeping things. You know, I made them sit on the fourth day, on the first day. Remember, on the sixth day, I made them. The creeping things, the animals, the behemoth, the crawling things, the things that eat those things. He said, I made them. I can rebuke them to Qahalath. Because the correction and reproof is a way of life. And guess what it says? Your vine, it says, and destroy the fruit of your soil, and your vine in the field shall not fail to bear, says Yahuwah of hosts. Then all the nations will call you Barak, huh? They're going to call you Barak because you got $17 trillion, $150 million, 600 million currency, 100 million this, 100 million that. You got all this stuff. I got 85 cars, 95, I got 10 houses. He said, when you're mind, he said, when you look at your natural life and you see your crops and everything growing, and then you look at your mind being that, and none of it's withering, none of it's falling away, none of the devourers are coming to destroy it. Satan not sending his ravens and his crows to eat your seed that's sown in your mind. And when the nation starts seeing, man, you still prospering in your consciousness, and also in your field, when you sowing your natural food, then they shall what? They shall say you are Barak, for you will be a land of delight. Delight yourself in Yahuwah. He'll give you the desire of your heart. So what's gonna happen when you have a delightful land? Then everybody will come eat from it. Man, you got some good food. You got that good grain. You got a good flour. You got a good Anderson cumin meal. You got a good pomegranates. You got a good apples. You got the good herbs. You got a lot of Qahalath. You got all types of things going. He said, tell your down when you see me, you sure how you me? Tell them I'm my tashuka. I'm sick with this love. He said, what makes your down more better than my down? He said, my down, man, his hair smell like the dew. His hair black like a raven. You know when you're outside, so when you get purified, he said, your hair will turn black because that's your pigmentation. You know what it says? You will be a land of light, says Yahuwah of hosts. Your words have been hard against me, says Yahuwah. He was like, man, look what y'all been saying. What he said to Mashah, you brought us out here to die. You brought us out of Mizraim to do this. You brought us out here. Well, he was talking, Mashah like, look at you. All you got to do is stand firm and see the salvation of you. And Yahuwah said, why are you proud of me? Tell Yashua to go forward. For you will be a land of delight, said Yahuwah. Your words have been hard against Yahuwah, said Yahuwah. But you say, how have we spoken against you? You have said it is vain to serve Yahuwah. He's like, man, look at him, bro. Look at you did. So you saying it's vain to do this? It's vanity. No, it's vanity to be foolish and to be stupid and not here to be the wise and to go to a house of and doing all that, doing stupid things, and then go to a house of laughter and then a house of mourning. That is foolish. That is vanity, as Ecclesiastes says. This is not vanity. And get what he says. But you say, how have we spoken against you? Just like Asenath spoke against Yusuf. He said, you have said it is vain to serve Elohim. What profit is it for our keeping his charge and walking as in mourning before Yahuwah of hosts? Huh? What profit is to do that? To walk as mourning, a man of sorrow. He said, why would Yahushua, a man of sorrow, acquainted with grief, according to Yeshua 53? We hid our faces from him. Man, what you crying for? Because you know why Yahushua was crying? Because Yahshua and Yahuwah touched his bone in his flesh. And that was the only way he's going to cope with it. He said Satan started touching his bone in his flesh, and he was weeping over the city. He was weeping over his people. He was weeping over his bride, his wife, because they were sinning. Because Satan started touching them. And they were doing all types of things they should not do. So Yahushua just weeping and forgiving. He was forgiving everybody. He was trying to make things right. He was trying to bring one man back, just like David was. David was like, you my bone and my flesh. What y'all wait so long to bring back the king? He was only caring about the people he loved. And that's not a sin. But it said right here, you have said it is vain to serve Yahuwah. What profit is there to keep his charge or walking as in the morning before Yahuwah hosts? And now we call the arrogant Barak. Now that's what we do. The arrogant are blessed now. But they Barak teachers, Barak, they are Barak. They blessed. He said, now you call the arrogant blessed now. That's what people do today. But we delight ourselves in the fear of Yahuwah. And we don't call them arrogant blessed people. But we know we're arrogant. We know what happened to us. Maybe for other people it don't happen. But he said, my son, do not be envious of the prosperity. But he says right here, evildoers are not only, he said, evildoers not only prosper, but they put Yahuwah to the test and they escape. He's like, they put him to, and they get away. He said they get away. He said they get away. This is Proverbs chapter 8. This is Proverbs chapter 8, verse 4. Proverbs 8:1. Does not wisdom call? Does not understanding raise her voice? On the heights beside the way, and at the crossroads she takes her stand. Stand firm and see the salvation of Yahuwah. Besides the gate in front of the town, at the entrance of the portals, she cries aloud. Like she cried out. You look at these portals in the first watch, the first portal, the third portal, the fourth portal, and the sixth portal. We're in the third portal. And guess what happens? To you, O men, I call, and my cry is to the children of Adam. O simple ones, Pati, learn prudence. That's what a farmer has. A farmer has prudence and patience. That means they plant seed, they sow, and they wait for Yahuwah to send rain and snow. See if I don't pour you a Barak. Why are you being stingy with your crops and your produce? Why are you being selfish? Oh, fools, learn sense. Learn some sense, you fools. You doing all those wicked things that Ecclesiastes said, and then you laughing and joking. He's like, what you laughing for? He said, better go to the house of mourning than the house of laughter. He said, through mourning, he said, the heart is made better. The countenance. He said, you learn gladness. It says, hear, for I will speak noble things, and from my lips will come what is right. All the words of my mouth are righteous. In this same book. There's nothing twisted or crooked in it. Get what it says. For my mouth will utter truth. Wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are righteous. And there is nothing twisted or crooked in them. They are straight to him who understands, him or her, wise man or woman, who does not hate Torah, who understands, and right to those who find knowledge. Take my instructions instead of silver, and knowledge rather than gold. For wisdom is better than jewels, and all that you may desire cannot compare with her. I, wisdom, dwell in prudence. And I found knowledge discretion, because there's a peace that passes all understanding. The fear of Yahuwah, oh, here we go. The fear of Yahuwah, see, delight yourself in the fear of Yahuwah. That's what he said in Yeshayahu 11. He said he's going to delight himself in the fear of Yahuwah. We almost finished. The fear of Yahuwah is hatred of evil. He said the evil always get away. Pride, gabah, and arrogance. He said these arrogant people, they always get away. They prosper. He said the fear of Yahuwah is hatred of pride, arrogance, and the evil way and perverted speech I hate. I have counsel and sound wisdom. I have insight. I have what? I have strength. We'll get back to Yeshayahu 11. Last thing. This is Yeshayahu 11. Yeshayahu 11 and 1. There shall come forth from the shoot from the stump of Yeshua. A branch from his roots shall bear fruit. He think David was like, my bone and my flesh. What y'all waiting so long to bring the king back? Because he's from the ones that you Jesse, Yeshai. You get what it said? And the Ruach of Yahuwah shall rest upon him. The Ruach of wisdom and understanding. There's the Ruach of counsel and might. The Ruach of knowledge and the fear of Yahuwah. He said the fear of Yahuwah is hatred of arrogance, evil, and pride, and to pook them out. He said these people that don't like themselves in the fear of Yahuwah, they fools don't like themselves in the fear of Yahuwah. Matter of fact, the wicked always prosper. These arrogant people. These arrogant men and women and children. It says, and he shall judge, and it says, and his delight shall be in the fear of Yahuwah. And he shall not judge by what his eyes see, and decide disputes by what his ears hear. How he gonna do that? Because forever, O Yahuwah, you're the bar, soul, and Shamash. He said, how he gonna do that? But with righteousness, all the words, so he said, all my words are right. Shall he judge the poor? That's what he said to the seven. What did he say to one of the seven congregations or the seven cities of refuge? He said, don't you know you poor, you blind, and you naked? I counsel you to buy gold tried in the fire. Take my shirt instead of silver and dollars rather than gold. That you may wear white raiment, that your nakedness don't appear. And he will decide the equity for the meek. He will decide the equity of the meek of the earth. And he shall strike the earth with his rod of his mouth. He said, I got beat with a rod. He said, you beat him with a rod, he shall not die. You shall deliver his soul from Sheol. And it says, and with the breath of his lips, he shall kill the wicked. He said, righteousness shall be the belt of his waist, and faithfulness the belt of his loins. All right, skipping over to Yeshayahu chapter 32, verse 1. It says, behold, a king shall reign in righteousness, and princes will rule in justice. Each will be like a hiding place in the wind, and a shelter in a storm, like streams of water in a dry place, and like the shade of a great rock in a weary land. He says, like a weary land. This is the book of, like you say, the princes are reigning judgment. Right? This book of Yeshayahu 11:15, Yeshayahu 11:15, Isaiah 11:15, Isaiah 11:15, 11:14. Actually, verse 11:12. He says, he will raise a signal for the nations and will assemble the banners of Yasharal. Why do you think he said, son of Adam, be lifted up, I'm going to draw all people to myself? Why do you think he would lift up on totality? But he says, and gather the dispersed of Yehudah from the four corners of the earth. And the jealousy of Ephraim shall depart and those who harass Yehuda shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not be jealous of Yehuda, and Yehuda shall not harass Ephraim. But they shall swoop down on the shoulders of the Philistines in the west, and together they shall plunder the people of the east. And they shall put out their hand against Edom and Moab, and the Ammonites shall obey them. And Yahuwah will utterly destroy the tongues of the sea of Mizraim. He said the tongues of the sea of Mizraim. He means the words that they speak. I will destroy the tongue of Ham, the tongue of Balaam, the tongue of the children of Ham, of Mitra, the children of Ham, Nimrod. I'm going to destroy their tongue. And will wave his hand over the river. He's going to raise his right hand over the river, and what he's going to do? With his scorching breath, and strike it into 7 channels. I'm going to strike it into what? 7 channels. They're going to be like streams of river. He said, king going to reign in righteousness, and prince is going to rule, and they're going to be like streams of river in a dry place. He said, I'm going to strike it with 7 channels, and he will lead the people across on sandals. Amen. Put your turban on your head, and put your shoes on your feet. When he came out of Mizraim, they had sandals on their feet. He's like, man, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring them out in 7 channels. What are them 7 streams going to do? They're going to clean them off. They're going to wash them. Those 7 channels going to wash them. Let's see what happens. And he will lead people across in sandals. And there will be a highway from Assyria and from the remnant, for the remnant of the peoples. As it was for Yasharal when they came out of Mizraim. He said they're going to be just like that. He's like, what y'all doing? Right, this is 1 Kings chapter 5, verse 1. 1 Kings chapter 5, 2 Kings. Like, what you doing? Yeah, it's 1 Kings. 2 Kings chapter 5. 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 8. 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 When Yasha, the man of Elohim, heard that the king of Yasharal had torn his clothes, he sent to the king, saying, why have you torn your clothes? What you tear your clothes up for? Let him come now to me, that he may know that there is a Nabi in Yasharal. So Na'am came with his horses and chariots and stood at the door of Yasha's house. And Yasha sent a messenger to him, saying, go wash yourself in the Yarden 7 times. He said, I got 7 streams for you. Matter of fact, what you need to wash yourself in the Yarden 7 times for? And your flesh will be restored, and you shall be clean. That's why you're going to wash in there 7 times. Why do you think he got 7 streams? For the people. I got to clean y'all off. I got to wash you clean. He said, matter of fact, go wash it 7 times. Matter of fact, don't forget the 7 celestial circles. As they travel along the celestial plane, as the sun travels its course. Matter of fact, don't you forget these 7 clouds and muahs either. That you may be washed inside of each one of them. Because he's going to clean you off. He'll bring you off in 7 channels. Because they're just like cities of refuge. And like streams of water. And guess what it says? And your flesh will be restored, and you shall be clean. But Na'am was angry and went away, saying, behold, I thought he would surely come out to me and stand and call upon the name of Yahuwah, his Elohim, and wave his hand over the place and cure the leper. He's like, man, you're going to wave your hand. You're going to call on the name of Yahuwah, he's going to open his hand up, he's going to wave his hand. He did wave his hand. He who holds 7 stars in his hand. Go wash yourself in the river 7 times. I did wave my hand. It was my debar. That's my hand. Because by the word of Yahuwah, the Shamash were made. And the host of them. I did. But guess what? He didn't have a heart to perceive. He said, behold, I thought he would surely come out to me and stand and call upon the name of his Elohim. Of his Elohim. And wave his hand over the place and cure the leper. Are not Abana and Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Yasharal? Could I not wash in them and be clean? He's like, man, there are other rivers. And now you're starting to lean to your own understanding. That's what happens. When we get a commandment or something to do, Yahuwah tells us to do, guess what we do? We start making our own understanding, and we come up with like 2 other places we can do, two other extra stuff we can do. And that's what we do. And it says, and Albania and Pharpar and the rivers of Damascus better than all the water of Yasharal, could I not wash in them be clean? So he turned and went away in rage. That's what happens when you lean to your own understanding. You get angry and you get rageful. And you forget. And you get mad. You start raging and getting angry against Yahuwah. Why? Because that's what happens. When you start leaning to your own understanding. And you're not at peace. He said, let prayer and supplication be made to Yahuwah, and you always have confidence. Philippians 4:7. And it says, but his servants came near and said to him, my father, it is a great word that the Nabi has spoken to you. It's a great word. 7 channels, man. You wash yourself. You know what he said? Wash and be clean. So he went down to and dipped in himself 7 times in the Jordan. That's what you gotta have. You gotta have somebody around you and say, man, that's a good word that was said. He told us to watch and warn each other while it's called day. He said, exhorting each other daily as the day approaches. What do you think he was doing right there? He was exhorting him. He was warning him. He said, as is the day. As you see the day approaches. Wash and be clean. You get what he said? Wash and be clean. So he went down to dip himself in the 7 times of the Jordan according to the word of the men of Elohim, and his flesh was restored like the flesh of a little child. You ever seen a baby born? Skin soft, everything back the way it was, and he was clean. You know why he was clean? Because he realized when I wasn't clean, I was leaning to my own understanding. And you can see he still had remnants of it. That's why he was coming up with his own thing. And then eventually he obeyed the Torah, and then he said, you know, I was leaning to my own understanding. I'm thinking I can do it my way. I was thinking I can do it my own way to cleanse myself. He said, no, you gotta do it my way. And then he was clean. So this is the book of, this is the last name. This is Essene Gospel of Peace. Essene Peace. Seven folds of peace. 7 folds of peace. Chapter. Page 2. It says, first, shall the son of Adam seek peace with his own body. For his body is a mountain pond that reflects the sun when it is still and clear. So stand still. Sun, stand still. When the sun is still and clear, he say, when the sky is clear, he say, man, it reflects from the water. And it says right here, reflects the sun when it is still and clear. But when it is full of mud and stones, it reflects nothing. You ever seen a rushing water? When you see the water waves running, you look at the bottom of the water, you can't see nothing to the bottom. When it's mud, he say, when it's mud and stones, you can't see. When it's moving around, it's like, man, that's just no bunch of mud and water. Because that's what you think you see. But you don't see all the elements and the sedimentary rocks and the minerals and everything that's in the water. Only thing you see is mud. Only thing you see is dirt. But in actuality, that water clean. You just don't know it. But it said right here, it reflects nothing. Because as long as you're in it, it don't reflect anything. It don't reflect anything as long as you're in it. It says, first must Satan be cast out of the body. That's the only reason he had to get in there first. People know, why he can't go in the clear water? You get in the clear water, what's going to happen? Your little dirty stuff going to dirty up the clear water. It's a good river right there. It's clean and water. He's like, ain't those rivers better than Yasharal? They clear? And he's like, yeah, they clear. You dirty as heck. You need to get your behind some dirty water. And it says right here, he said, first Satan need to cast out the body, that the Malachim or Allahim may enter again and dwell therein. First he got to get that stuff out. And then what he said, truly, no peace can reign in the body unless it is a temple of the Kudash Torah. Know you not that your body is a temple of you? Clean yourself from all filthiness of the flesh and ruah. He was like, I ain't got to clean myself. You a liar. He says, therefore, when he who suffers pains and grievous plagues asks for help, tell him to renew himself with fasting and with prayer. Tell him to invoke the molecule of the sun, the air, the molecule of water and air, that he may enter his body and cast out the power of Satan. He's like, what, you got all that stuff in there? Because the sun is for your skin for purification. Sweat. Get all the things out of your body. To heat the body, get your pigmentation back, get your melanin back in your body, your blood, vitamin D. Allow your hair to start growing again. Allow all these things to take place. Then the water cleanses your body. It gets in your skin, it sucks in your pores. You get in the river, it gets in your body, the minerals again. And then the air dries you up. Allow you to breathe in fresh air again. And then guess what happens? That they may enter his body and cast out the power of Satan, because he's in your body. It says, show him the immersion within and the immersion without. There's the immersion you got to do within yourself. You got to wash yourself in the 7 streams within, and you got to wash yourself in the 7 streams on the out. Tell him always to eat the table of the earthly mother. Spread with her gifts the fruits of the trees, and the grasses of the field, and the milk of the beasts, good for eating, and the honey of bees. My son, eat that honey. So he said, for you find it, you'll find the future. It's good for the soul, and health to the bones. Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. You my bone, my flesh. Eat honey. But it says right here, he shall not invoke the power of Satan by eating flesh of beasts, for he who kills his brother, and he who eats the flesh of slain beasts, eats the body of death. Why do you think Yahushua had to die? He killed his brother. They slayed his brother, and guess what happened? He said, behold the Lamb of Yahuwah who takes away the sin of the world. And then where did they went? They went to the house of laughter instead of went to the house of mourning. And they went to eat the supper. That means for the wages of sin is death. It says, tell him to prepare his food with the fire of life, not with the fire of death, nor the living Malachim of the living Allahim says, not with the fire of death, for the living angels or Malachim of the living Allahim serves only living beings. So this is the last thing. I found it. This is the last thing. This is the last thing. So this is the last thing. So this is the same book. Oh, here we go. So this is the same book. So this is the same book. This is the Qahalath streams. That scene of truth, of peace. The Qahalath streams, right? Let's start at the top. It says, into the innermost circle have you come, into the mystery of mysteries, that which was old when our father Enoch was young and walked the earth, right? So skipping down. It says, now in the hour before the rising of the sun, just before the Malachim, or the earthly mother, breathes life into the still sleeping earth, then do enter the Kudash stream of life. He said, I'm going to take my hand and strike it into 7 streams. And what do you think the streams are supposed to be? He said, I'm going to bring them out of Mizraim on those 7 streams. Those 7 channels. Then he's going to bring my remnant out of Mizraim, just like it was when they came out of Mizraim. And guess what it says? Streams of life. It says, it is your brother tree who holds the mystery of the Kudash streams. He who holds the 7 stars in the triangle. And it is your brother tree that you will embrace in your thought. He who holds the 7 stars in the triangle. In your thoughts. It says, even as by day you embrace him in greeting when you walk along the lake shore. And you shall be one with the tree. I am the vine, you are the branches. You can't do nothing without me. You shall be one with the tree. And David, how did David persuade his bone and his flesh? He persuaded him as one man. And go what he said. For in the beginning of times, so did we all share the Kudash stream of life that gave birth to all creation. What do you mean, Kudash stream of life? What was the Kudash stream of life that gave birth to all creation? 6 days you labor in the 7th you rest, the 7 streams of life. The 7 streams of life. 6 days you labor in the 7th you rest. That's the 7 streams of life. And guess what he did? And then we repeat it again the next week. It says, and you, as you embrace your brother tree, the power of the Kudash stream of life will fill your whole body. It's going to fill your whole body. Be not drunk with wine, be filled with the Ruach. Because what was the 7th one he had? He said he's going to judge him with the spirit of judgment. He's going to judge according to the sight of the eyes, but he said with righteousness will he judge. But he said he's going to delight himself in the fear of your Ruach. And yes, you got to love. It says the Kudash stream of life, and will fill your whole body, and you will tremble before its might. He said, to him will I look. He said, Shamash is my throne, and earth is my footstool, and Yeshayah 66. What house will you build for me? To this person, this man and woman will I look. Those who tremble at my word. It says, then breathe deeply, right? Then breathe deeply in the Malachim of air and say the word of life with an outgiving breath. Then you will become, in truth, the tree of life, which sinks its roots deep into the Kudash streams of life from an eternal source. He that believes on me, as the scripture said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. He these 7 streams. And a matter of fact, he should be like a tree in the book of Psalms, chapter 1, planted by rivers of living water. Planted by rivers of living water, and you can't see it. It's something you can't see. It's all in your mind, in your thoughts. Something that people cannot take away from you. They can't take it. The only thing to do is talk about it. And it says right here, and the Malachim of the sun warms the earth, and as the Malachim of the sun warms the earth, and all the creatures of the land, and the water, and the air. What is the air? Rejoice in the new day. That's what it is. So will your body and spirit rejoice in the Kudash stream of life that flows to you through your brother tree. So this is the last thing. It says, and when the sun is high in the heavens, then will you seek the Kudash stream of sound. In the heat of noontime, all creatures are still and seek the shade. Why do you say stand still? He's like, man, stand still, son, stand still. He say, stand still and see the salvation of Yahuwah. He say, all they're going to seek under the shade. Why do you think they was under Yahushua looking at him? And it says, and the Malachim, or earthly mother, are silent for a space. Why do you think Yahushua was quiet? Why do you think he said that? He's only for a space. And this right here says, then it is that you shall let your ears, the Kudash stream of sound, Then it is that you shall let into your ears the God's stream of sound, so that it can only be heard in the silence. He said, I'll have a peace that passes all understanding. It can only be heard in silence. Why do you think you should remain silent? They said you have the right to remain silent. Keep it up. Because all the words of my mouth are righteous, and they're not twisted or crooked. Because it's all right. It's all right. So we look at Yahushua Mashiach, and we look at his life, and we get his understanding. We look at the 7 streams, we look at the sun standing still. We look at Messiah and all the people who desire to go back, but not knowing they were delivered. The desiring to know him, but not knowing they were delivered. And they were being ready to be delivered. And walking out and bringing them out in sandals. Knowing that these 7 streams are the 7 streams of life, the 7 days of creation. Even the 7 muahs and feasts, even the streams of water that flow within the thoughts and the mind of every both male and female. As Ahal. And our hair and our mind and our thoughts. He said, who can number the hairs of the head? Who can do these things? Can you make yourself taller? When we look at ourselves, we look at our inner man, we look at our inner being, and we stand as giants among Nephilim. Like we stand as giants among Nephilim. Right? And as we look at ourselves as giants among Nephilim, he said we stand taller than any Nephilim that's here. So we look at ourselves, look at our life, and even though we stand taller than Nephilim, he said we still not bigger than our Father in our Lord. He even stands taller than us. Right? So we walk not in arrogance and pride and to people knowledge, but in meek and lowliness and humbleness. For even Yahushua himself, even was taller than us. When he lowered himself even lower than us, he took on the form of a servant and walked in humility and meekness and temperance amongst giants. And he stayed at their feet. When he was just like a grasshopper in their sight, and yet he was higher than all. So we look at ourselves, we look at our understanding, we look at everything that we've become, everything that one may know, but there's a lot more to this than what's just said. Right? Just like anything, he said, he that think he knows something, he knows nothing. And he ought to know anything. Right? So we look at it and say, being humble for our lack of knowledge. We can't understand the birds, we can't hear the sounds of the whales in the ocean. We can't hear the spirits. We can't hear certain things in the earth, but we definitely can't see everything. So therefore, he said, be humble for your lack of knowledge. For our consciousness has never been enlightened that far. We look at ourselves, we look at our understanding, and this is the truth of life. Right, so this is the last thing. This is the book of Psalms 32:1. Psalm 32:1 says, Barak is the one whose transgressions are forgiven, whose sin is covered. Barak is the man against whom Yahuwah counts no iniquity, in whose spirit there is no deceit. When I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. Day and night, your hand was heavy upon me. My strength was dried up as by the heat of the sun. My strength was dried up like the heat of sun. Right, so look at all the heat that's come down. He said that the strength of sin died. Allow the water to flow, and allow your plant to grow. So for the meek shall inherit the earth. The meek shall inherit the earth.